Hi everyone, today's video is a wrap up of my favourite books of 2017 so far. I'm going to work backwards from the books that I've read most recently, so let's get on with it. The first one is Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb, which I really can't say much about because it's the third in a trilogy, and the trilogy is one of many in a series, and so this is the Realm of the Elderlings series by Robin Hobb. I cannot recommend this series enough, and she's just wrapped it up in the most incredible way, and I've never sobbed so much, wept when reading a book. But yeah, it's a good one. The next one is Deep Work by Cal Newport. Now this is a non-fiction book, which is not something that I read a lot of, but I have read a few this year, and this is definitely the best so far. So this is about creating focused time within your working life, and being able to really focus on one thing without distractions, and the importance of this and how rare it is in everyday life, mostly because of things like social media and the fact that we're always being interrupted by emails and other such things. So this was a really enlightening read and inspiring in many ways, and it's something that I want to try and apply to my own work as much as possible. Then we have If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, which I've already talked about quite a bit, but I absolutely loved this. It was very similar to The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which is one of my favourite books of all time, and I didn't even really mind how similar it was because I do love that book so much, and I just felt like I was back in that kind of world. It's set at a university. This one is a university for arts, and particularly performing arts. The main characters are acting students, and they are particularly interested in Shakespeare. So lots of literary references in there, just the right level of pretentiousness, and it's also a real page-turner. I just felt like I knew them all intimately, which is the mark of a very good book. Then we had The Power by Naomi Alderman, which recently won the Bailey's Prize for Fiction, and this was another one that I really got swept up in. I listened to the audiobook. If you don't know the premise, the idea is that overnight women discover the power to create electricity with their hands, and so the gender dynamic is completely flipped overnight, and men are no longer the strongest sex. And it follows a number of different characters with the fallout of this, and it's such an interesting exploration and something that I haven't seen done quite in this way before. So yeah, I think it was a deserving winner of the Bailey's Prize. But the next book that I read, also I kind of wish had won the Bailey's Prize just because it is so excellent, and it's a debut novel. This is Stay With Me. Ayobami Adebayo has created just the most amazing story where you think you know what's going to happen, and it just takes you in all these twists and turns in ways that you never would have imagined. On the surface, it appears to be a sort of family drama. There's a woman, there's a man, and there's a new wife, and nothing is as it seems. And again, it's a book that I can't say a lot about without giving things away, but it's such an engaging read, and I really encourage people to pick this up because it's got so much to offer, and I think even though it was shortlisted for the Bailey's Prize, it could reach a much larger audience who would really love it too. Then I finally got around to reading Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I know, it's about time. This one's been around for quite some time now, and it was just a delight to read. I don't normally read YA, but this is one of the best ones that I've read. The audiobook just has everything to recommend it. It's read by Lin-Manuel Miranda, so that in itself would make me want to read it. But it's also a fantastic story, coming-of-age story, exploring sexuality and friendship and love, and yeah, just really warmed my heart. Elif Shafak's The Three Daughters of Eve is another one that I read and just adored. As with all of the books here, you know that. That's the title of the video. Three Daughters of Eve is set partly in contemporary Turkey and partly in Oxford when the main character was at university. I love university novels, and this was no exception. This had one of the things that I most enjoy about campus novels, and that is where you actually get to see some of the classes that the students are attending, and I think that's something that's a bit rare in in university novels, which is surprising. You would think that you would get quite a bit of that and that a lot of time would be spent in classes. But it's another thing that even with Harry Potter, I'm always disappointed that there isn't more time seeing how McGonagall actually teaches. And I think that's why I like the third Harry Potter book so much, is that there is quite a lot, particularly in Lupin's class. But this has some of those intellectual discussions that go on in the tutorials and classes, and I really love that about it. It's sort of based around a scandal that we know happened, and we know that the main character had something to do with it, but that's something that's teased out throughout the narrative. And if that can't convince you, it has a really beautiful cover. The penultimate book here is The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, another one that I probably should have read a long time ago, but I adored this as well. Also listened to it as an audiobook, and it's another one that's narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's something that had a lot of character development with the main character particularly, and I just loved all the little hints to sort of nerd culture and also literature. I probably would describe this as being a quiet epic in the sense that it's an entire life of this one character, but it's quiet because it is just the one character and he doesn't have a large circle of friends or acquaintances. I really enjoyed this book, and especially the experience of listening to it, so I'd highly recommend the audiobook of this one. And the final book was one of the most beautifully written books I've read in a long time, and this was Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ackerman. And this is about a young boy who falls in love with an older boy. It's, again, quite a quiet book. Not a lot happens, but a lot of it's going on inside the character's head. But it was the prose that really, really got me about this. The way that he describes particularly the emotions that he's going through is just so true to life, and it was so real and believable. Even if you haven't experienced the things that he's feeling at this point, everything seemed so tangible. The setting, the emotions, the other characters, and it's all written in this beautifully lyrical way, and I just loved it. So if you're a person who doesn't mind books that don't have a lot of plot but have that really, really rich prose, then I would highly recommend this one. It's quite a short book, but it's one that I really wanted to savour and take my time over each page. So I imagine that one will end up on my favourites of 2017 overall list. It'll be interesting to see which of the others end up on that list at the end of the year. But those were my favourite reads of the year so far. If you've read any of these and want to share your thoughts, please do so down below in the comments. And if you have any books based on this that you think that I would really enjoy, then I would love recommendations, because I feel as though I'm falling into a little bit of a book slump at the moment, which is slightly worrying, but I'm hoping that something will come along and just sort of sweep me up again and get me back into that swing of reading. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!